and then at the end, a brutal 25K climb up the Alpe di Siusi to end today's 5th day of competition here at the Giro. This was Lance Armstrong emerging from the Astana team bus earlier today, just prior to the start of the stage that began in the same spot where yesterday's stage 4 finished, the ski station of San Martino di Castrozza. Lance hoping to stay within contact of the leaders today, and here's some of the men who you expect to be near the front. Danilo De Luca there in the green. He's the winner of stage 4 from yesterday, the new king of the mountains. And in the pink, Thomas Lobquist of the Columbia High Road team, the new overall leader on GC. This was the official start. The riders rolling out of San Martino earlier today under partly cloudy skies and comfortable temperatures in the 60s. And the GC shaping up like this after 4 days. Lobquist the leader by only 2 seconds over De Luca. But how about the Americans there? Levi Leipheimer, Lance Armstrong, both within a half minute of the lead. Chris Horner right at 1 minute back, as is the Russian Denis Menchov at the bottom of the screen there. And the attack started right from the gun in San Martino, the road going up virtually from the start. The first climb, Passo Rolle, topping out just past 8 kilometers into the race, an average grade of about 6%. This is second category climb with King of the Mountain points at stake here. You see the riders going through a select group right there and putting on the jackets because you see the snow cover on the mountains up here. No snow on the roads, but it can be quite chilly at this point when you make a climb like this in a race, still relatively early in the spring. And now we bring in Todd Gogulski and take you through the course profile. The green line indicating where the race is right now, still on the descent of that Passo Rolle. And then later on, they've got the average gradient of 6% to deal with and the long 25K up to the finish line here today. So somewhat of a rest now, Todd, because they're going to have some strength at the end of today's race.
Very important that we saw the riders taking on warmer clothing and taking precautions for this descent early in the race, because it looked very nasty up there on the top of the Passo Rolle. And now this group, this 6-rider group, has a little bit of an advantage. It's going to be all up to Team Columbia High Road to bring them back or keep them in check as they go down this long descent through the valley floor. And then we expect a lot to be happening on that final climb to the finish.
Well, about 70 kilometers of descending here today before the road starts to go up once again towards the finish. And here's where things stand right now. We do have a 7-man breakaway, and they have a lead of 3 minutes 50 seconds over the peloton with about 75 kilometers left to ride in today's stage number 5. The riders out front, Giovanni Visconti, the Italian for the ISD team, also Jose Serpa, who rides for Diqui Giovanni, as you look down on the pink jersey of Thomas Lobquist, the overall race leader, riding for Columbia High Road, the former Swedish national road and time trial champion, who leads by 2 seconds as the day begins. And back to the leaders now, Thomas Voeckler of the B-Box team. The Frenchman is in the leading group of 7, as is Eros Capecci, the Italian for Fuji Cerveto. Carlos Ochoa, another of the Diqui Giovanni riders, who actually won the Tour of Venezuela earlier this year. The 28-year-old is in the break. Daniela Pietropoli, the Italian for LPR, is out there, as is Francesco Gavazzi, the Italian on the Lamprey squad, the former Italian U23 national road champion. The 24-year-old rounds out our 7-man break. You see them riding up the road right now, trying to gain as much time as they can on the descent.
It's critical for these guys to continue to pick up more time now, because when we see these early breakaways, they never are going to have as much fire left in their legs when they hit that final climb. And so they have to build up a big advantage now and try and come to the final climb with a lot of time to spare, because there's no way they can get up it as fast as all the main general classification contenders, who are going to be having a big battle there to gain time over each other on that final climb.
195 riders taking the start today in San Martino di Castrozza. That was the finish line for yesterday's stage number 4. 2 previous Giro stages finished in San Martino prior to this year, back in 1954, also in 82. Ironically enough, both of those stages were won by non-Italians. So De Luca's tremendous sprint yesterday that got him the win in San Martino, the first time ever that an Italian has won one of the finishing stages into San Martino di Castrozza. Riders going out of there earlier today, and another gorgeous day in northern Italy. We've Yet to see a drop of rain. Temperature at the summit, at the Alpe di Siusi at the finish here today, in the low 60s right now. Should be somewhere around 70 degrees out in the valley as the riders make their way through the middle of the course. But partly cloudy skies, very mild and very good riding conditions here today, as you see one of the many castles that dot the landscape. And boy, Gogo, I don't know how you build something like that. I mean, just look at the landscape. It's unbelievable. But we'll see many of those as we roll along here on stage number 5, underway in Italy.
$57 value, and when you order in the next 4 minutes, it's only $19.95. And get free shipping through this exclusive limited-time TV offer.
Get up to a one and up to $60,000 in assistance. Get paid to learn valuable job skills. Maybe make an extra 20 grand when you join. All while you serve your community and your country. Learn more at NationalGuard.com.
This Memorial Day weekend, celebrate with the Denver Brass. Bring a can of food for 9 Cares Colorado Shares to the Sound of America, performed by the Denver Brass May 22nd and 23rd, and get $5 off admission. Traffic Line from 9 News has a new number. For real-time Denver Metro traffic info, call 866-737-7341. The new Traffic Line from 9 News.
With our 7-man breakaway on stage number 5 at the Giro d'Italia. Final day in the Dolomite Mountains today, and the road a lot more favorable for these riders right now compared to what they will face later on. Just about 25 kilometers of climbing at the end as they go up to the finish at Alpe di Siusi. And what a Giro it's been already. We've seen some tremendous finishes, very unexpected occurrences in the final couple of kilometers, really every day. And we've seen 3 different riders hold the pink jersey in the course of the first 4 days. And you look at Giovanni Visconti, the virtual Maglia Rosa right now. That's because considering where he is on GC at 2:49 back as the day starts, the lead for this group is well beyond that. So out on the road right now, he's the virtual leader, but that won't mean much come the end of the day. You have to believe these guys will at some point be brought back as the road twists and turns through what is the highest alpine meadow in all of Europe. So a lot of tree-lined sections of road for these riders as they continue on this descent. And Gogo, we had our first summit finish yesterday. Obviously, De Luca passing Soler in the final few hundred meters to take a thrilling finish. And again, we have another grueling finish today as we go uphill for so many kilometers near the end. Guys were still relatively fresh yesterday. The toll that yesterday's stage, especially at the end, took on their legs will certainly be felt today. So do you expect a similar finish with a large group, or will it be more selective at the end of stage 5?
I think we have a couple of different scenarios that can play out today, and one of them involves this group of 6 riders off the front. The question is, are they actually going to be vying for the stage win or not? My guess is that it's going to be pretty tough for this group to stay away, as we see Thomas Volker there, and he's one of these breakaway sort of opportunist guys, quite a bit like Visconti, who is in the virtual leader's jersey at this point, the ISD rider that you were talking about a moment ago. But I have a feeling this group is not probably going to be able to stay away to the end. Now, what's probably going to happen is after they get caught, we're going to see, once again, the Italian teams going to the front. We should look for LPR, we should look for Liquigas to set that tempo for De Luca and for Basso. And there, I think, is going to be the major part of the race at the last part of this final climb, the Alpe di Siusi. And I think that it will be much more spread out than yesterday because the climb is much more severe. The question is, can De Luca repeat? A lot of people think he can. A lot of people are also tipping their hats to Simoni. This is his stomping ground. And we also have to look to Basso.
Well, what about Astana? We saw Lance lose a little bit of time right near the finish yesterday. Levi looked pretty comfortable yesterday. Chris Horner is still within a minute on GC. What do you expect from the Astana club?
Well, the Astana club is very interesting, and I think that Lance really is trying to ride himself into form a little bit here. The question is, will he have the recovery from day to day to become stronger as the race goes on, or will he start to get tired? And the only way to know that is to let time run its course. We look at the other two you just mentioned, Horner and Levi. Horner is a little bit of the secret weapon for Astana. Getting a lot of comments from out talking with people that Horner's going really well. Even though he's had some injuries this year, he's a little bit of their secret weapon. And Levi looking very good yesterday. Levi does not want the jersey today. He does not want to be in the jersey. They do not want to have to defend because there's a lot of stages that are climbing but no mountaintop finishes coming up. They don't want the jersey this early. So Levi should follow, and he should let some Italian take the lead today if Lofquist falters on the final climb.
And there is the Columbia High Road team protecting the pink jersey of Thomas Lofquist, who picked it up yesterday. And this is the peloton that is in pursuit now. And it's getting stretched out as they roll through this area of vineyards and the thickly cut forest. Now, beautiful region of northern Italy, along the border with both Austria and Switzerland, as the race traveling today through the Trentino and South Tyrol regions in northern Italy. Lofquist looking comfortable in the pink, and he doesn't expect right, but you know what, he doesn't expect to keep this pink jersey. He figures it's going to change hands quite a few times over the course of the next 3 weeks. And even Bob Stapleton, the leader of the Columbia High Road team, says he's our star for the future. He's our GC rider in years ahead. They're going to see what he can accomplish here, but they're really not expecting him to hold that pink jersey and be the winner of the Giro this year.
Yeah, I think for him and this entire Columbia High Road squad, it's all about hanging on to that jersey as long as possible. If he can hold it today, they can probably defend for a number of days. It will use up their team pretty substantially to defend in these other stages, but they have to try. But the first objective is to hold on to that 2-second advantage that he has over De Luca today. The tough thing is, if he comes to the line with De Luca, there's a 20-second bonus for first, a 12-second for second, and an 8-second for third. And De Luca has a much better kick at the end, so that is in De Luca's favor for the overall Maglia Rosa.
Now, we saw it from De Luca yesterday as he just blew past Soler there in the last few hundred meters to get the stage win. De Luca looking very good. He says that this is a course that suits his style, and perhaps he could pick up his second ever Giro d'Italia win to go along with the other one, the pink jersey that he won back in 2007. But so much racing left to go. Again, this is only the 5th of 21 days of racing here at the Centenary Giro d'Italia. Peloton making a big sweeping right-hand turn on one of the few flat roads on today's stage.
After performing almost 1,500 weight loss surgeries, I know the real secret to losing weight. In people who have had surgery, the upper part of your stomach is stretched out after a meal, and your brain says, stop, I'm full. Virtually every bariatric procedure uses this mechanism, but not everyone needs surgery. That's why I created Full Bar. By eating a safe, all-natural Full Bar and drinking a glass of water before the 2 largest meals of your day, the same principles go to work, but without the surgery. After a very small meal, the upper part of your stomach is stretched out and your brain says, stop, I'm full.
That's why in a recent study, 95% of the people who ate Full Bar lost weight. For added fullness, try Aquafull. Visit fullbar.com now. And call or visit us online to find out how to get your free month supply of all-natural Full Bar and free copy of Why Diets Don't Work.
On the boards out there, guys. This is your territory, Grimson. Do your job.
Grimson.
Hello?
Hi, honey. What? Now? All right. The itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again.
I love you, Daddy.
I love you too, sweetheart.
Hey, it's my girl.
You know, my daughter.
Love. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
There in the middle of things with the Black Sox, Lance Armstrong of Team Astana. Now, you wear black socks, black shoes like that in anything but cycling, you're going to get made fun of, especially in school. You'll be picked on all day long, but when you're Lance Armstrong, you've got 7 tours on your resume. No such ribbing from your fellow competitors.
Kind of matches the helmet. He's going with the black motif top and bottom there.
You wearing the black socks today?
Wouldn't tell.
And now back to our leading group of 7 riders. Again, Giovanni Visconti, Jose Serpa, Thomas Vogler, Eros Capecci, Carlos Ochoa, Daniela Pietropoli, and Francesco Gavazzi up the road.
And really, when you look at this group, Steve, you look at Visconti. He spent 6 days in the Maglia Rosa last year at the Giro d'Italia. He's the best placed of all these riders, 249 down. This is exactly what he needs. He knows he can't contest for the overall classification on the climbers' terms, so he's got to do it on his terms. This IST team back on the assault. Also, Jose Serpa, the Diqui Giovanni rider, a great climber on the team of Gilberto Simoni. He's another strongman in that move, and you can never count out Thomas Vogler, the B-Box rider who spent many days in the yellow jersey at the Tour de France, as we see now Cavendish, the early Maglia Rosa, riding on the wheel of his teammate Lofqvist, the current Maglia Rosa wearer, as these guys got a lot of work cut out for themselves today.
And just inside of 50 kilometers left to go, and already been a terrific Giro for the Columbia High Road team. They said coming in, well, if we can just take one stage win, get the pink jersey for a day, we would be satisfied. But they take the team time trial on the opening day in Venice. They get Cavendish in the pink. Now they have Lofqvist in the pink. They still have a couple of other cards they could possibly play with Michael Rogers, who's up there on the GC, and the guy who they called their GC leader coming into the Giro, Konstantin Sitsov, the Belarusian. How deep is that for a squad?
Yeah, and Sitsov, the guy they said to be their leader, down about 59 seconds coming into today's stage. But it is Rogers sitting only 6 seconds behind his teammate Lofqvist, and the sandwich in there, the middle, at 2 seconds back is DeLuca. So they've got 2 bullets in the chamber still, and plenty of cards to play. Columbia High Road looking very, very good this year, and actually the other team that's looked very good is the LPR squad with Pataki and DeLuca.
Now today's stage finishing at the Alpe di Siusi, and then tomorrow the 6th stage of the Giro will finish in Austria, and stage 7 begins in Austria before traversing through Switzerland before coming back across the border into Italy, where the race will stay the remainder of the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and all all Columbia High Road on the front. Looks like they got some Barlow World thrown in there now, and that is for only one reason. There's no Barlow World in the break, and they have Soler to try and make a move on this final climb, but they have to catch that breakaway first. So this is good for Columbia High Road because they got some help from another team.
The one thing going in Columbia's favor is the fact that they have such depth, such talent, and versatility that they can put multiple guys in the pink. They can defend. But the question mark for some of the others, as you look up to the Liquigas squad and the team car, other teams do have GC favorites, but they don't have that depth to defend if they should get it at some point in the race.
Yeah, we call that the power bottle there. Notice how he holds on for a nice long time and then sticks those things in his back, in his pockets. He'll then ride back up, give those to Basso and his team leaders. The power bottle thing, you can do that. You can milk that just a little bit when you take that bottle from the manager in the team car. Let him give your legs a little bit of a rest. But if you do it too long, the officials start getting on you for it.
What is your record for the number of bottles you ever stuffed in your jersey?
I'd say I probably picked about 7 bottles up, but one year in the Coors Classic, a guy on another team put like 15 bottles in his jersey. I mean, he was just loaded down. It was over 100 degrees. It was a tailwind climb for an hour, and we were absolutely dying, and we couldn't get enough to drink.
You see the hills in the background as we're back to the front of the race now with our leaders. A breakaway of 7, still several minutes over this main field as they ride through the vineyards. Now, Gogo, this is a race in the 100th anniversary edition of the Giro d'Italia. As you look at the current leader, Thomas Lopquist, a race that really is going to demand patience. We've had these 2 big mountain stages in the first 5 days, but so many other decisive days still to come. Even the time trials are going to be so critical in determining the overall winner that you've got to be patient. You can't go too deep too soon.
Yep, and there's Soler right in the middle of those Barlow World guys, and that's why they're on the front helping out the Columbia team. I totally agree with you, though. The time trial at the Cinque Terre is going to be epic. I expect the time gaps between the guy who wins that stage and the guy who gets 10th in that stage to be about 5 minutes. I really think it is going to be massively selective in the overall classification of this year's Giro d'Italia.
Well, our breakaway group of 7 with their largest lead of the day over the main field at 4 minutes 43 seconds. As everybody back in the peloton has it spread out here across the road. But the pink jersey staying safe and near the front. A lot of Astana jerseys there, and boy, what a tumultuous time it is for that squad. They've been given a May 31st deadline to get their finances sorted out, or they'll have their Pro Tour license suspended. Lance Armstrong had a press conference before the Giro saying that he would like to, if necessary, take over the team, bring on some sponsorship, be a rider, also a director and part owner as well. But there was concern initially that Astana might not have enough funding to even finish the Giro, but now it looks like they'll at least get through this race. But there's a very good possibility that Astana will be racing under a different name and different colors come the Tour de France in July.
Yeah, amazing. It's got to be tough on these guys because they have to keep their race game going, and they can't let these problems within the team cause them any issues, as Diego Caccia there on the front for the Barlow World squad. And you know, that's the thing about these riders. It's not just riding the bike, but it's all the other demands with the travel and everything else that comes up. It's a grueling schedule these guys got to go through. Cavendish, a lot of FaceTime there for Cavendish. He's not doing any work yet, but they are doing some climbing right now, some little bumps in the middle of the course. He needs to start doing some work for this team before he gets dropped on the last climb.
Well, that's one of the unique things about cycling, because you can have a lot of these distracting off-the-bike issues occur during the season, during a big important race. As a matter of fact, a lot of times riders will sign contracts and notify management they're changing teams in the middle of the season for the following year. You hear a lot of news around the Tour de France every year about riders who are signing for different teams the next season. Rarely do you see that in any other sport. It's usually the off season where players will change teams, sign different contracts, but in cycling it happens during the middle of the previous season. How much of a distraction is that for the riders, their teammates, and management?
Well, that makes things a little bit weird, because let's say this year you're on Liquigas but you're signing to go with LPR next year. So now you have this strange allegiance. You got to ride for Liquigas this year, but if push comes to shove, you're riding for LPR next year, and you have an opportunity to help them. Well, you may look to the next year and say, well, that's where my bread's going to be buttered. So it can blur the line just a little bit.
Columbia High Road with Mark Cavendish on the wheel of the overall race leader in the pink, the Maglia Rosa belonging to Thomas Lövqvist. And they're on the road to the final climb of the day, and then it's 25 kilometers uphill to the summit finish of Alpe di Siusi, the second of 6 summit finishes here at this year's Giro d'Italia. San Luca, Montepetrano, Blockhouse, and Vesuvio are the others. Day number 5 rolling along here at the Giro.
This is Maya, and if she doesn't look too happy, she isn't. Maya, like many people, has too much credit card debt. How about you? Do you have $5, $10, $15, or even $25,000 or more in credit card debt? Are your creditors harassing you at all hours? Are you tired of going through life feeling like Maya? I'm Todd Cook, founder of 800 Credit Card Debt. Day in and day out, we help people just like Maya. Regular people who got in over their heads in credit card debt and want their lives back on track. At 800 Credit Card Debt, we'll help you find a payoff plan you can live with. One that could work with your creditors to eliminate penalties, lower your interest rates, and even reduce what you owe. Don't let the word bankruptcy enter your thoughts. Call us, because you can pay off your credit cards and still have money left over each month. And the best part is, you'll feel like yourself again. Maya did. Make the call today.
Get rid of your credit card debt once and for all. Call 1-800-585-5207.
Perfect. Forehand drive topspin. They got it. What a performance.
Hey everybody, I'm Summer Sanders. Join me Friday as I head to Charlotte to catch up with Michael Phelps as he takes his first dip in the pool since the Olympic Games. Only here on Universal Sports.
So, April.
Yeah?
You know your charger's still using energy when it's plugged into the wall, right?
Yeah, but that's not my charger. I don't even have a cell phone.
Millions of kids are using their energy wisely. What's your excuse?
On Masters of Illusion. You've never seen magic like this. Death-defying. Heart-stopping. Reality-twisting. Jaw-dropping illusions that will leave you spellbound. Magicians from around the world perform mind-bending tricks you have to see to believe. Incredible escape artists. Sensational sleight-of-hand experts. And acts both beautiful and bizarre come together on one stage to show off their amazing magic. Open your eyes. Open your mind. Dare to believe. Masters of Illusion, Mondays at 9, 8 Central on My Network TV.
It goes. Earlier.
the press. This morning. To that. And the light
Tim, good. Stretching out.
Is
Falling.
the trial
Radio.
See the replay once again. And this time.
His as well. position for 5.
Free minutes. Time. Two.
From
It's a two-door coupe with a really
big scratch across the back door. When can you get someone to
save me some money? I just got my bill from my insurance company, and it may be time for a change.
It all begins with a personalized insurance assessment where we take the time to understand you and then help you understand your options.
Sure, it's got anti-lock brakes and airbags, but I feel safe knowing I've got the right coverage, too.
Of course, the true measure of an insurance company is how you're treated if you have an accident. Amica is there for you 24/7. No wonder Business Week recognized us yet again for our customer service.
They went all out to settle my claim. I had no idea it would be so easy.
Call Amica now. Good drivers could save hundreds.
Saving money's nice. Great service is nicer. With Amica, I get both.
Call Amica today because
it's not just how you're covered.
It's
how you're treated.
For the course of the early portion of this Giro. It's not the type of Giro in terms of the course layout this year that really allows a rider to do that. You have to be more on top of your fitness coming in at the start this year, really than ever before. So Lance has his work cut out for them in that regard.
Yeah, that's exactly what all his adversaries thought about early on, especially the LPR. and the Di Giovanni squads. They said, look, we cannot give Lance a chance to find his form. He's been off of his bike for 3.5 years, well, out of competition. He's going to continue to get stronger, so we got to hit him hard. We got to hit him often and put him into a world of hurt early on. And we saw that yesterday. Lance is definitely going to lose more time today. The question is, can he keep it within 2 minutes?
Now, how long will this break survive? The 7 men who went clear right from the opening gun. The road went up to the Passo Rolle right from the start in San Martino di Castrozza, and that climb topped out just about 8 kilometers into the stage today, and they really used it as a launching pad to get away, establish the break of the day, and those 7 men have been clear ever since, as the main field now going inside of 30 kilometers left to ride. So things about to get rather interesting here in the next few kilometers as the road starts to go up to Alpe di Siusi.
So really it's been Columbia defending their team lead most this way through this valley floor, also on the descent after that first climb. We've seen a little bit of the Barlow World guys chipping in there because they have their card, which is Soler, to try and pop off at the end and go for a stage win. But Columbia doing a lot of work here today. If they can defend, tomorrow they're going to be a bit tired.
Now, good thing, Gogo, once the housing market finally hits a bottom, you can refi your second home there on the cliff in northern Italy.
That would be a nice one.
No, don't play coy on me. Come on. I was talking about it earlier before we went to break earlier in the show, how those castles are perched so precariously on the edges of those cliffs. How do they ever build those? I mean, obviously you're not getting cranes up the mountain, but I mean, the drop-off is massive, and we're talking about castles built hundreds of years ago.
It's a lot of manual labor on those, and it's very stable. A lot of rock there that they can build on, so they can build very close to the edge.
And they know how to do it back then. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see anything being built like that anytime in the last 100 years.
And the peloton sneaking their way along the waterway here, and this is the main field. Now, picking up the pace here, Barlow World with a couple of guys at the front. Garmin with a few as well. Quick Step is up there.
And look at this, no Columbia left on the front. They have basically said, okay, guys, we've done a lot of chasing, and if anybody wants to go for this now, it's up to you guys.
Now the pace starting to quicken, but it is such a long climb. As you look from the backside of the peloton now, we take you forward to our leaders up the road, and so far in the first 5 days of racing, this is the largest break that we've seen. 7 men. And earlier in the Giro, we saw a break that had as few as only 1 rider. So we've really seen the spectrum. 1 rider one day getting clear. Now 7 men, the most we've ever seen, occurring here today on stage number 5 as the Acerca River provides the parallel setting for this road towards the final climb.
And so really now at this point, Columbia High Road doesn't need to do much chasing at all because the climb is going to sort itself out. Remember, Visconti is at 249 behind Lofqvist. So that means that that lead group is now basically right around that far ahead of the field. They're going to come back. So now the only teams that are going to go to the front are the ones that are looking for stages or looking. And that looks like Pizzato there, Filippo Pizzato, the rider on Katusha. And he's still looking for that elusive stage win here with 25K to go, which means they are now starting into that climb.
Oh, here we go. The leaders starting that long and difficult final climb of the day, and really the toughest climb we've seen so far at this year's Giro d'Italia. The Category 1 is coming up.
This is Maya, and if she doesn't look too happy, she isn't. Maya, like many people, has too much credit card debt. How about you? Do you have 5, 10, 15, or even $25,000 or more in credit card debt? Are your creditors harassing you at all hours? Are you tired of going through life feeling like Maya? I'm Todd Cook, founder of 800 Credit Card Debt. Day in and day out, we help people just like Maya. Regular people who got in over their heads in credit card debt and want their lives back on track. At 800 Credit Card Debt, we'll help you find a payoff plan you can live with. One that could work with your creditors to eliminate penalties, lower your interest rates, and even reduce what you owe. Don't let the word bankruptcy enter your thoughts. Call us, because you can pay off your credit cards and still have money left over each month. And the best part is, you'll feel like yourself again. Maya did. Make the call today.
Get rid of your credit card debt once and for all. Call 1-800-585-5207.
Job injury. The injuries wish they could shoot you like they would a lame horse. They're not in the business of caring about human suffering. They're in the business of increasing corporate profits. I've handled many work comp cases throughout my career, and I know just how unfair the system is to injured workers. That's why I fight for people, not corporations.
Call Brian Moore now at 303-377-5959.
Get ahead of the crowd. USA Today Mondays. All it takes to make the rest of your week smarter.
In news, what's ahead with the new administration, at the gas pumps, and around the world. In money, what top execs are thinking, what they're reading. In sports, the big view that goes beyond the local favorites. In life, hear the stars talk for themselves.
Start your week smarter with USA Today. Subscribe for home delivery. Now get 12 weeks for just $30. That's 50% off the retail price. Call today.
The main field now on the climb of the Alpe di Siusi, headed towards the second consecutive summit finish at the Giro d'Italia. This climb, 25 kilometers in length overall. It gains almost 5,000 feet in elevation. The average gradient, as you see, a little more than 6%. Now, to break that down a little further, the max grade is 11%. The first 7.5 kilometers have an average grade of right around 7%. And then the road starts to relax somewhat. The gradient gets much more gentle. It goes in about a 2% gradient for a short stretch. But then, once you get up towards the finish, it really becomes much steeper. With 10 kilometers to go, you're up to 7%. Then the final 5K average 8% as you look at Ivan Basso. And then that maximum gradient I talked about at 11%, how about this? That comes in the final 3 kilometers before the finish.
If you got some legs, that's where you want to try and test your rivals, as it looks like one of our breakaways, and that is Gogulski, popping off the back. And look at this gap back to the front of the field. Looks like still over a couple of minutes. And Gogulski, the first one to fall off the back. And here it is, 2:25 back to the field.
Now the largest margin was 4:45, so it's about cut in half. Francesco Gogulski, the first of the 7. To really be put into serious difficulty here, the 24-year-old former Italian U23 national road champion, losing contact with his 6 breakaway companions from earlier in the day.
And as these guys drive up this final climb, they're going to have to keep the pressure on here, and we should expect to see a little bit more attrition out of this front group, because they cannot take anything for granted at this point. They got to stay right on the gas, as Eros Capecci for Fuji Servetto on the front right now.
And again, the climb steep at the start, flattens out through the middle, and then the steepest sections are near the end. Liquigas controlling things at the front. Columbia High Road also with several riders there as well.
And so Liquigas really going to be more interested in putting the pressure on Columbia High Road and trying to hurt Lövkvist and try and get him isolated, whereas Lövkvist is just going to try and follow the lead of the Liquigas guys, as well as LPR if they go to the front. He just needs to follow wheels right now and try and minimize any damage they can do to him.
Well, hard to believe. This is a serious mountain stage in the Dolomites on only the 5th day of this first Grand Tour of the season. So it's definitely a climber stage, but if you are a climber, if you are a guy who has aspirations of the GC at this year's Giro d'Italia, how much of your form do you want to put on display? How much of yourself do you want to show today? What will be the tactics of those top guys?
I would say being conservative. If you're like, we've been talking about Levi, and speaking about not being conservative yesterday, DeLuca with that amazing win. Now he's got a lot of pressure on him, but I would say for a lot of riders, hold back just a little bit. Yes, you want to gain time on your rivals for the GC, but try not to be in that leader's jersey, because it's hard to defend that, and it wears your team out.
Lance Armstrong, left-hand side of the road, and see where he is in relation to the front of the main field. Sort of middle of the pack, it looks like right now, as the camera takes you in closer to the pink jersey of Thomas Lövkvist.
And
25-year-old.
Saw one of the Liquigas riders coming back very fast on the left side of the screen. There's Cavendish there. He's probably going backwards now as well, because these Liquigas guys on the front doing some hard work, and when they can't pull anymore, boof, and they'll lose 20, 30 minutes on this final climb. They'll just soft pedal up. It's still all Liquigas on the front.
But right there behind the Liquigas train is the green jersey of yesterday's Stage 4 winner, the Italian Danilo De Luca, who leads in the King of the Mountains classification, number 121. And De Luca feeling very good about himself at this year's Giro. Of course, the 2007 winner. Look at the killer. Well, back in 07 when he won his only ever Giro title, he also won Stage 4 that year. Here he is winning Stage 4 yesterday in the 09 edition, saying the course suits him very well overall. He's feeling good about his form, feels he can be aggressive, and we'll have to wait and see for still another 2.5 weeks whether or not that will pay off for him when they get to Rome.
It's a long, long way from the finish, and really a different format for this 100th anniversary edition of the Giro d'Italia with these major climbing days early on here. But by my estimation, we still have about 12 significant climbs coming up over the remainder of this race. So there's a long way to go. And De Luca, actually, his victory salute yesterday, very interesting, pointing to the side of his jersey, which signifies the region of Italy he is from, which is also where they had the bad earthquake, and then pointing to the sky, to the heavens, for the people who were lost in that quake. So a very unusual victory salute, but he's very much a part of that region of Italy, and I'm sure all the Italian fans really feel a lot of passion for him and feel very good for him for doing that.
De Luca saying he's really targeting the Blockhouse mountain stage coming up later on in the race that goes near his home, near the Abruzzo region that was highly afflicted by the earthquake, to really pay tribute to the folks who passed during that terrible tragedy. Now 43 seconds separating the main field from the front of the race. Now Lance Armstrong still in pretty good position there on the left-hand side of the road in the middle of the peloton, and these boys up the road. What is now a 6-man break. Still very early in the climb, and these roads, as I mentioned, kind of steep. Average gradient of a little more than 7% for the first 7.5K.
Yeah, Pataki now off the back, and he really has no concerns whatsoever as he's shed, and he'll just ride it up to the finish and look for another bunch kick to try and win a 3rd stage later on.
Now Liquigas has done so much work over these last few days at the front of the main field, keeping Basso safe. Is this the kind of day that Basso might make a move? It still seems to be pretty early for a guy who has such high hopes overall. I don't know if he'd want that pink jersey this quick.
Yeah, well, Basso comes in a little bit down in the overall classification, 53 seconds. So he needs to start trying to move closer towards the lead. And really, LPR did a ton of work yesterday for De Luca, and those have been the 2 teams that we've seen riding the front outside of Colombia.
Yeah, Basso, in order to get the pink jersey today, would really have to get some separation, go on the attack pretty early. He can't bring guys like De Luca, Lobquist with him and arrive at the line, because even a big time bonus for winning the stage wouldn't help Basso get into the pink jersey.
Yeah, I think that today, obviously, with Basso's entire team spending a lot of time on the front, they're going to hope that through attrition they can crack a bunch of the main contenders, and then he'll sort that out, and just basically with making the on-the-fly decision at the end.
Thomas Vogler, one of 6 left at the front, along with Visconti, Selpa, Capecci, Ochoa, and Pietropoli, as they try and maintain their advantage over the peloton. A little more than 2 minutes separating our leaders and the main field right now on the slopes of the final climb, headed towards the summit finish of the Alpe di Siusi here on stage number 5 at the centenary Giro d'Italia.
After performing almost 1,500 weight loss surgeries, I know the real secret to losing weight. In people who have had surgery, the upper part of your stomach is stretched out after a meal, and your brain says, stop, I'm full. Virtually every bariatric procedure uses this mechanism, but not everyone needs surgery. That's why I created Full Bar. By eating a safe, all-natural full bar and drinking a glass of water before the 2 largest meals of your day, the same principles go to work, but without the surgery. After a very small meal, the upper part of your stomach is stretched out and your brain says, "Stop, I'm full."
That's why in a recent study, 95% of the people who ate Full Bar lost weight. For added fullness, try Aquafull. Visit fullbar.com now. And call or visit us online to find out how to get your free month supply of all-natural Full Bar and free copy of Why Diets Don't Work.
Nike has a rich history in running, and today that legacy continues. Bill Bowerman was one of the co-founders of Nike, and he's also Steve Prefontaine's coach. And as a coach, he liked to make each and every one of his athletes' shoes by hand. Today, his legacy continues with the Bowerman series. And these shoes are only made in 2 factories worldwide. So what that gives you, the runner, is a very impeccable amount of quality control. Each one of their shoes in this series, that's 8, is done with minimal changes throughout the year. So this way, from the upper to the bottom, doesn't matter. You're getting the same shoe when you get out there and purchase the next one. And also, they're gender specific. So whether or not you're a guy or a gal, it doesn't matter. They figured out your anatomy, and they've got you covered.
For more information on this or any gear guide, go to universalsports.com/gear.
Liquigas still comfortably at the front of the main field as the race approaching 20 kilometers to go on the stage. And now that means they're going to be getting close to that section where the gradient levels off somewhat and the slope becomes much more flatter than what we typically see the rest of the way. And now back to our leaders, 6 up the road here. And they are going under 20K right now. So about to finish off this first steep section of the Alpe di Siusi climb, and then it'll level off somewhat before the steepest section later on near the finish.
In this flat section that's coming up, you see Vogler there looking like he's hurting quite a bit. But in this flat section coming up, especially back here in the pack, if you're one of the favorites, you just want to be staying out of the wind, taking advantage of that draft, because the last few kilometers are where it's going to be the hardest today, and that's also where the pace is going to increase.
Now Danilo De Luca in the green jersey of the King of the Mountains leader, right on the wheel of Ivan Basso, who's in the green of his Liquigas team kit. And these are other riders further down the road. Now the majesty of the geography in northern Italy. One of the great things about the sport, it connects locations, cultures, people of all kind. As we go through northern Italy and where we've been the last several days of this race, going through so many of these towns and provinces where you speak different languages, people of different nationalities, and they're all connected through that common fabric of their love of the sport.
And with that gap now down to 1:13 seconds, Visconti here, the man coming back toward the back in the ISD jersey, knows that he's not going to be able to put on the Maglia Rosa tonight as he was able to do from an escape last year. So a little disappointing for this breakaway, and they got a long way to go. They're probably not going to make it to the finish.
Now from the back of the main field, as everybody goes under the 20K left to go banner, again Basso and De Luca. Now Danilo De Luca, in winning that sprint at the end of stage 4 yesterday, said, "I won it with a cold-blooded heart." And that's why they call the guy the killer.
Sastre, the first time we've seen, Gandil, interesting. Oh, it is Sastre, it's his other last name, as first time we've seen him in a while, and he has been a man we have not seen show his face much. Let's see if he has any legs today.
Well, he's not out of the question to get the stage win here today. I mean, Sastre is the type of a rider who likes the hard climbs. The tougher, steeper, harder it is, the more Sastre likes it. So today's stage, with still relatively fresh legs, could be a stage for the defending Tour de France champion.
And he did finish on the same time as the leader yesterday. He was 16th, but he was the last guy before they actually calculated a 6-second split to the next group of a few riders. So he did hang in there at the end. He's been riding himself into form, and we'll see if he could do something good here today. So he has said that he wants to try and be on the podium by the time we end this race May 31st.
Well, as his tradition, he started the season very quietly, very slowly, really didn't have any big results, but that's what he always does. Sastre always comes in and tries to ease his way into the season as Vogler is getting punched out the back now.
Vogler.
One by one.
Yep, and now it looks like he's starting to dig again.
Second win.
Maybe he just realized that he was being lazy and it was time to get a little bit mentally tougher and get back in there. So we're back up to 6 again in the front group. And right there on the front is Pietropoli of the LPR squad of Danila De Luca.
Now, today's the type of day that whoever goes into the pink jersey, whatever the results are, no matter what happens at this second consecutive summit finish, it's not going to give us a definitive answer in terms of who is the strongest in the race or who is going to win this Giro d'Italia. But I think what it'll tell us mostly is who is going to struggle to get to the podium, who may not be a contender, because if you don't have it today to stay with the leaders, stay in contact, if you're suffering today, it could be a long 3 weeks.
I think today is a big day for all the question marks about Lance Armstrong. He lost just a few seconds yesterday, but today a much tougher climb here at the end. It's longer and it's steeper at the end. And so the whole question for me is of anybody that's considered a crowd favorite or an overall contender favorite, Lance is a big question mark today. We also have to wonder about Sastre, because he was 16th yesterday, but he wasn't really looking very strong. We didn't see Menchov at all yesterday. He finished with the leaders, but he didn't really do anything at all. And what about Leipheimer? Does Leipheimer really have the stuff today?
David Garcia de Peña has abandoned the race. He was our initial King of the Mountains leader early on in the Giro. As the peloton is starting to string out somewhat, especially near the front, and also Lance Armstrong's second big European mountain day since that 2005 Tour de France. So second day, first time in almost 4 years now. Struggle at the end yesterday. How will he respond later on here today? Still in the middle of the pack right now, but it does get much steeper near the finish. Will he suffer the same fate? Will he drop off again here today, or will he be a little stronger today?
I think this gentleman here probably just had some sort of a gear problem. Vasil Kirienka of the Kestapanya squad. Vogler, you can see it written all over his face, as American audiences saw that look quite a bit at the Tour de France back in 2004. But you gotta love this man's tenacity and grit.
Oh, now this is the Lampre rider, Francesco Gavazzi, who was the first of the 7 in the break to crack, being picked up by the main field.
As he looks to actually hand one of his bottles to Cunego if Cunego needs it. He says, this is the last time you're gonna see me. If you need a drink, I have it. I can't get back up here again. And Vogler zipping up here. Looks like the flatter section as Visconti getting a bit of a power bottle there. And, you know, use it if you can. Every little bit. Take what you can get.
Now, when you consider the guys who may be trying to ride into their best form as this Giro unfolds, a guy like Lance Armstrong, giving the untraditional nature of this year's route and with the hills coming so early, how does that affect your ability to ride into form? I mean, in a typical Tour de France, for instance, you have so many flat stages and it seems like it's a more rhythmical entrance into the race, whereas here you're going up early, then it flattens out, then some more flat hills, as well as some peaks thrown in between. It doesn't allow you to get into that rhythm, but how does that affect riding into form?
Yeah, I gotta say, Schlanger, you are becoming the analyst extraordinaire yourself, because it's totally true that if it starts out flatter, you have much more of an opportunity to sit in the pack and just really take advantage of riding into it, you don't have to go so deep that then you can't recover the next day. With these climbs like this, much tougher, because just if you want to be in contention on these days, you flog yourself to the point where you can't recover the next day. And that's what's tough.
Gogo, as you know, as a former rider, there's a fine line between your optimum level of fitness and then fatigue on the body. It's always a fine line. You're right on the edge, and if you go over that line too quickly, you're almost done.
Right, you gotta stay within yourself to a certain degree, and I think that's why it didn't look like Lance totally buried himself yesterday. When he slipped off and lost a few seconds, he just sort of kept it within himself and said, look, tomorrow's a hard day. I can't kill it today because tomorrow I need to have a lot more.
And the peloton now working their way up the Alpe di Siusi. Thomas Vogler, one of 6 riders up the road, but not too far ahead of the peloton right now. Vogler has been spit out the back of these guys a couple of different times, but always regains contact. Tough man to get rid of in this 100th anniversary of the Giro d'Italia. It's the 92nd race overall, but it's the 100th anniversary here in 2009, and Stage 5 continuing on Universal Sports.
Here's a special free offer for men who are losing their hair.
My hair always looks great, and I feel great.
If you want to look better, if you want to feel better about yourself, Hair Club is the way to go.
Men, you know that getting your hair back will make you look good and improve your self-confidence like no diet or exercise program. It's a proven fact that having a thicker, fuller head of hair makes you look and feel younger, healthier, and sexier. You can get your hair back just by calling Hair Club. Call now.
I'm 52, and I look better now than I did when I was in my 40s. Becoming a member of Hair Club for Men is the best investment in my career I've ever made.
Hair Club offers all proven hair loss solutions, including surgical and non-surgical options. Available through our network of physicians. With more than 500,000 success stories over the last 30 years, Hair Club can also help you get your hair back. Invest in yourself. Call now.
What separates us from all the other hair loss companies is that only Hair Club provides all the proven technologies and solutions for hair loss that are available.
The reason why I went to Hair Club was because of the great quality of work, the experience of the doctors and the medical staff, and the great patient care. They really took care of me, and the results are fantastic.
When you call right now to book your free no-obligation consultation, we'll also give you a microscopic hair and scalp analysis, a $250 value absolutely free. We'll measure the extent of your hair loss, explain what causes hair loss, and our hair loss experts will show you all the tested, proven solutions we offer.
I'm very happy that I have a full head of hair. I feel healthy and great, and it's the best decision I've ever made.
Hair Club is the only company that can offer you a customized solution based on your unique type of hair loss. Get the look you want that women love. If you want to look younger, feel better, and get a full head of hair again, call Hair Club today.
I wish I would have done this 20 years ago. It's so worth it.
Call them. Just call Hair Club. Hair Club has worked wonders for me.
Why wait? Call now for your free information kit and find out how you can get your hair back. The call is free. The information is free. The consultation is free. Why wait? Call now.
Leave to Main Street. That's right. State and local taxes may now be deductible on a new vehicle purchased through December 31st, 2009. This really is the best time in years to buy a car, so see your local dealer for all the details. Credit is available for most buyers, and now up to thousands of dollars may be available in tax savings. So head on into your local dealer for the deal of a lifetime. This is the best time in years to buy a car and save on taxes. A message from your Colorado Automobile Dealers Association.
Get ready for the second annual 9 News Shred-a-thon. Bring up to 3 boxes or bags of personal documents that you want shredded on May 16th from 7 a.m. till noon. For directions to the 5 Denver area locations, go to 9news.com. Protect your identity and support Crime Stoppers at the Shred-a-thon. Get breaking news alerts and daily news updates from 9 News. Go to 9news.com and click on the 9 News Now icon to sign up. When you want it, when you need it. 9 News. Congratulations, Drew Soicher, voted Best Sportscaster by the Colorado Broadcasters Association.
And our leading group of riders going under 15K left to ride. This is the part of the climb that is a little more accommodating, not as steep as the beginning nor the end of the climb overall. Lance Armstrong still with a lot of guys and especially a lot of teammates around him in the middle of the peloton.
Yeah, but look at this. He's pretty far back in the group
dropping
now,
back
Steve.
now. Look at
it's
that.
Not looking so good for Armstrong there. He needs to be a lot closer to the front. This may be a foreshadow of not feeling all that good right now.
As the teammates around him, but let's hopefully with an aerial here get a better indication of exactly how far back he may be. He was right in the middle for quite a while there early in the climb, but if the camera takes us up just a little ways, we might see that he's dropped back somewhat.
That's Popovich right in front of him. He's got Brockovich with him as well. right behind him, and
yeah, here we go.
A lot of guys up there.
Yeah,
in
he
front
is
of
dropping
Mr.
back.
Armstrong.
Yep. And Liquid Gas still at the front. Now you see with the main field going inside of 15K, our leading group of now 6 riders is not too far up the road, just inside of 1 minute.
Well, and this is telling me there's Basso on the left of your screen, and on the right of your screen, Pelizzotti, 4th last year. Basso, the winner back in 2006. Obviously, Liquid Gas feeling very confident today. There's Gilberto Simoni in the middle taking a little sustenance. You can see him drinking. We haven't seen him much, but he's one of the potential hitters here today as well. But Liquid Gas really using a lot of energy right now to try and set up Basso. They must have a lot of confidence in their ability to maybe pull some time out of DeLuca today.
Now the towering crags of the Dolomite Peaks off in the distance as the riders cut their way through this thickly forested alpine section of northern Italy right now. And now with Liquid Gas still controlling things and driving the pace at the front, LPR not too far behind. One of the strategies that those teams are employing is not only to keep their men safe in position, but also try to bury their potential rivals like Lance Armstrong. They may not put Basso into the pink jersey today. These teams may not take the overall race lead, but if they can distance themselves from guys like Armstrong, it makes the rest of the race that much easier going forward.
Every day where you can eliminate one potential threat is one easier day for you to win this race overall. And Armstrong showed a weakness yesterday. Maybe they can finalize that weakness today. And let's have a look-see at this gap, as we were about a minute at the last check at the 15K to go. And it's still looking right about a minute. But look at that field. It's a lot smaller as guys continue to go off the back. There's the pink jersey of Thomas Lofqvist. So he's still in there holding strong, sitting in the top 10. He's got a couple of riders around him.
Now Liquid Gas still doing all the work out front. Now these are the strong GC teams. Liquid Gas, Columbia High Road. You've seen Astana there near the front for quite a while today. The team's built around GC contenders.
There's David Arroyo, the man for the GC lead. And Levi and Lance, 24 there right in the middle of your screen.
Yeah, Lance making his way back up towards the front now.
Well, that man's, he knows how to do it. It looks like in that flatter section, maybe his teammates brought him back into good position. That's exactly what you need to do. These guys race very smart. Then you have a little bit of slide to work with when you're towards the front there.
Now the pace like this on a climb as severe as this, with the gap now under half a minute, it can be very demoralizing for some other teams, because when you have clubs like Astana, who we see there, and Liquid Gas that have left their sprinters at home and brought all of their GC guys, that means they have riders who can climb, who can really set a very fast tempo at the front of the field on a big climb like this, and that can just decimate those other teams that are sprinting teams, that are the teams of the opportunists that just can't hang with them in the big mountains.
And looking back there at that shot of Gilberto Simoni a moment ago, really not able to tell from his body language yet if he's feeling good or bad. Kind of a little ambiguous, but he's a fighter, and he's a man who wants to win it today. Very close this stage to his stomping grounds. He's got a lot of fans out here on the course as we're back to the breakaway group now. And once again, for Fuji Servetto, it's Capicci on the front. Continue to drive this pace. We saw Vogler just swinging off the B-box rider after he's been dropped several times, and yet he's still on the front pole. And look at this, a little bit of a dicey maneuver here for Liquid Gas doing a feed. But it doesn't look like any riders taking down in the process.
Now there was a curve in the road there, and the bottle went flying and could have been a little more dangerous.
Yeah.
And the main field really starting to bear down on our leaders now. Well inside of a half minute. Now 13 seconds.
Whoa. Not looking good for our leaders. This is where they're going to pull the plug here any moment now and get absorbed. So, Steve, it's time to start talking about what kind of fireworks we might see. Now is the time for the GC hitters to start really doing something special. If you got it, it's going to be time to start making those moves.
Now they're looking over their shoulder now at the front. Won't be long now. Now, it remained a pretty large group all the way through. They only lost one rider from the initial breakaway of 7 that went clear in the first 10K of racing.
Yeah, kind of hard to imagine that Gogulski was the only one who came off. You would have figured they would have sort of disintegrated as they tried to maintain their advantage, but they worked together the whole way, and here's the Liquigas-led field. And they still have a lot of riders left on the front for Liquigas. I have not seen any LPRs except for one rider helping out DeLuca, one rider there on the right side of the pack up on the sidewalk as things starting to fight for position. And we got to be looking for some attacks. Here comes Liquigas right on by the leaders.
And going inside of 10 kilometers left to race now, and this is where the climb starts to get a little bit more severe after that brief respite. It'll start to kick up to 7% in these next few kilometers, and for those leaders who were just swallowed up, Todd, what a feeling that is as we see an attack here now.
Look at this, Barlow World already starting it off, and that's their Italian, Giampaolo Ciuela, as he puts a little pressure on. This is perfect textbook riding because they want Soler to have the opportunity to win the stage. So Barlow World, here's the attack. One more time, the Italian Ciuela on that squad. And he puts the early pressure on here as the breakaway is caught.
Now, I don't know if he's going to get much of a gap here the way he's riding.
Well, you gotta go for it here. You do not want Soler to be the first guy from your team to attack because you need other riders to do the chasing, and then he needs to go on the counter.
And here's another move.
This looks like quick step on the chase, and it looks like, in fact, it is. And that is Dries de Venus, the Belgian, on the quick step squad. And Liquigas not even concerned. They just let him ride by, so maybe they really don't think these two have a chance.
Now these guys so far down in the GC, and the roads still will get steeper the further up the mountain that they go, so no serious response from any of the heavy hitters in the main field. Lovequist still there in the pink jersey, riding out of your frame. There's Lance Armstrong there, just behind the two Rabobank riders in the black helmet and the Astana colors, the turquoise, yellow, and white, taking off his sunglasses.
And here's our two leaders. So de Venus has caught and looks like he has dropped Ciuela.
Well, no surprise, as soon as the initial break was caught, counterattack starting with two riders going up the road, Barlow World and Quickstep. Sending a couple of men up the road, but not getting much of a margin over the main field as we start to get onto some of the steepest portions of the Alpe di Siusi climb. This'll gain just inside of 5,000 feet in elevation overall. The steepest stretch is at the finish in the final 3K, so the explosive part of the race is coming up when we come back.
Own a timeshare? Turn it into cash.
We sold our timeshare and got this big check.
No more maintenance fees, thanks. That was easy.
When you call now, you'll find properties from the biggest names in the industry. If you want to buy, sell, or rent, call now.
With billions of dollars sold, now could be the best time to sell.
With the cash we got from selling our timeshare, we paid off our credit card.
No more maintenance fees, no more credit card debt.
Call now and get your free information kit with our Insider's Guide to Buying, Selling, and Renting Timeshares. Plus, receive a free $100 gift card.
With thousands of satisfied customers, we're the largest timeshare resale marketplace in the world. Call us today. You'll thank us tomorrow.
We bought our timeshare and we got exactly what we wanted.
Thank you. You're the best.
Call now and get your free information kit and free $100 gift card. Turn your timeshare into cash and never pay another mortgage payment, maintenance fee, or tax bill again. Don't wait. Call now.
Call 1-800-919-4859 for your free information kit and $100 free gift card. 1-800-919-4859.
This is the High Sierra 3-in-1 roller duffel bag system. Now, it looks like a normal duffel bag with all the places for your helmets and gear and everything you need, but this bag actually becomes these 3 bags. When you get to the ticket counter, if your bag's overweight, you just separate it here, and it becomes 2 bags that you can check. And I know what you're thinking. It's going to cost you some money to check an extra bag, but it's not as much as 1 very heavy bag's price, believe me. Separate this, it becomes a backpack where you can keep your boots with you and carry them on. Then when you get to the mountain, it's hydration friendly. You can bring it on up into the backcountry, pack a little picnic, but the High Sierra 3-in-1 roller duffel bag system definitely has you covered.
For more information on this or any gear guide, go to universalsports.com/gear.
Guard, I never thought I'd be saving lives. It's more than money for college. It's built my character and given me a sense of accomplishment. Now I'm on a career path, and I'm the leader of my team.
I put on the uniform, and I have a whole new outlook on life. Country, community, family. That's what matters most to me. If that matters to you, go to 1-800-GOGUARD.com.
Ellen's games are getting crazier.
How are we allowed to play this game still?
And the countdown is on to Friday's big game week finale.
And someone's going to win this car right here.
Plus, on the next Ellen, the Tonight Show's Jay Leno and Sierra returns. On an all-new Ellen, the talk show with the most online fans.
We have 1,350,000 followers, and I still don't know where we're going.
Ellen today at 3 on Channel 9.
Steve Schlanger with Todd Gogulski. Not quite 9 kilometers left to ride here in today's stage number 5 of the Giro, and the green line indicates where the racers are right now on this Alpe di Siusi climb. 25 kilometers altogether, and that 6.1% is the average gradient. However, they are getting into the portion of today's course where it really starts to get very steep. They're on an area now that's just about 7%. It'll kick up to 11% in the final 3K.
And there's Armstrong with 3 of his armada there. You can see 21, the black helmet Armstrong. Just to his right is Brockovich with him, but he's got a whole slew of help because these guys know that he is hurting and they want to try and help him if he starts to get gapped off. And look at this, now down to 3 guys on the front for liquid gas, and that is Sylvester Schmid on the front, the Polish rider on the Italian squad. Right behind is Basso, and then the 3rd man in line, Pelizzotti, and there is DeLuca, right where he wants to be.
And there's Lance Armstrong again in the black socks and the black helmet, the Livestrong colors, and Lance has a few of his teammates around him, but dropping a little bit further back. How does his form and what's his overall demeanor look like to you?
I think Lance he's suffering a little bit, but he still looks like he's riding within himself. He's kind of drifting back in this bunch. He knows that he's going to lose some time here. So what he's trying to do is stay nice and steady. He's not quite the Lance of old, but by the same token, he hasn't been racing his bike for the last 3.5 years. So I think overall, very solid. And he's just going to have to try and get better and better as this race goes on. There's Gilberto Simoni there, one of our favorites for today, Leipheimer. We just saw the pink jersey of our overall race leader. So starting to thin out here on the top.
As they go just inside of 8 kilometers.
And Chris Horner there right behind DeLuca. Horner having an unbelievable day, and he's really been the man. Looks like he's been assigned to shepherd Leipheimer a bunch on today's stage. Half the team with Leipheimer, the other half with Armstrong.
And Levi Leipheimer riding side by side with the pink jersey of Thomas Lövkvist right now.
And there's Garzelli, number 1 in the red jersey, Aqua and Sapone. The first time we've seen him all day. And
that's the distance from the front of the race to Lance Armstrong as the camera pans back.
So we'll get another look at how far back these guys are. There's the Garzelli part of that group, and moving further to the front, we're not quite going to see the front this time around. These are the liquid gas riders who did a lot of work earlier on, and now they just need to ride it on in. Back to Lövkvist in the pink, and Leipheimer right behind him. And the front of the group looking very strong. And I have to say, the Polish rider, Sylwester Schmid, very, very good tempo he's putting on here for Basso. Right there with the glasses sticking out of the top of his helmet.
Now Basso still looking very comfortable, a guy who's ridden this climb several times in preparation for his return to the Giro after winning in 2006. The green jersey of Danilo De Luca, leader of the King of the Mountains, and there are King of the Mountain points at the top of the climb. He'll certainly beat the devil up there.
Looked like he almost did a face plant there, as looked like a little bit of a stumble. And he has gone down before, by the way, in these sort of manic moments as he runs next to the group. And there's Armstrong out of the saddle, out of the saddle a little more than normal for Armstrong. But it looked like Menchov there right next to him, Denis Menchov, the leader of the Rabobank squad.
I haven't said much about Menchov, the two-time winner of the Vuelta a España. And haven't seen him near the front of the field much of these last couple of days.
Indeed, that was Menchov. I did glimpse the number 141 from the back, so Menchov kind of far back as well in this group. Maybe he followed
Sastra,
wheels
61 as well.
Sastra, so Armstrong's still in very good company. There's no doubt about it. As there's Menchov, just a few riders further up in the orange and blue of the Rabobank, and still on the front. It's Schmid of the Liquigas team. You can see the pink of his teammate. I keep saying Boassenhagen, but that's Lofqvist. Boassenhagen actually right in front of him there, and Horner with the jersey unzipped right behind De Luca. Horner seems to be on incredible form.
I tell you what, De Luca has been right on the wheels of the Liquigas riders almost all day long.
Yeah, it seems like for our entire broadcast, that's all it's been, is him sitting on Basso or sitting on Pelizzotti.
That's Bruseyen, 103, the Lamprey rider we saw a moment ago, who finished third in last year's Giro. And back to Lance now.
This climb's starting to take its toll as these riders starting to slowly get popped off the back. A little bit of ticket punching going on here.
And it's 7% here. Gonna get even higher.
Lance
Still a long way to go.
Lance is starting to not look quite so good now. Starting to look a little bit more ragged. Lofqvist, very, very impressive defense of his jersey right now as he continues to hang very tough. He's not known for being this type of a climber, and he is really impressing right now, and the pack is starting to come apart right now.
Well, this is certainly where the experience of Lance Armstrong will come into play, because he knows there's so much racing left to go. I mean, we're basically a quarter of the way through the 3 weeks of the Giro d'Italia, and he will know that his fitness is not where he wants it to be. He knows there's so much climbing left to go. A lot of mountaintop finishes, so much time trialing that will play a role. So he's going to make sure that he rides his own tempo, limit his losses, and just keep himself in position. That's all he has to do at this point so early.
It's all he can do, and he's right at the back here of the peloton. He's just holding on as long as he can. You can see he still has 3 teammates with him.
Now the final of 2 days in the Dolomite Mountains of northern Italy. And this climb, the Alpe di Siusi, topping out at 6,000 feet in elevation. And these are the riders who hope to be there first. And now back to the Astana boys, who are dropping off the back, and Lance Armstrong starting to seriously lose some time now.
Yeah, looks like he went maybe a little bit too deep as he's looking a bit ragged out of the saddle.
And
back in.
Garzelli.
Oh, this is Garzelli. This is bad news.
This is a
for
bigger
the Italian.
surprise than Lance.
This is a much bigger surprise. I thought he was a potential stage winner here today.
Now Lance Armstrong, 37 years of age, Garzelli, 35. This is Basso, who's been kept well protected all day long at the front. And Danilo De Luca, boy, yesterday's profile fit him to a T. He used it to his advantage to win the stage. And the severity of the slope in the final couple of kilometers today also could favor De Luca if he still has it in his legs to sprint for back-to-back stage wins.
It was an incredible, incredible finishing burst for De Luca yesterday. And Armstrong just you could see how hard this is. All the sweat dripping off his chin. He's out of the saddle. He's back in the saddle. He's got a very nice group of riders here just to look after him. There's Brockovich there on the front. A little wave to the camera.
And Garzelli really struggling.
Garzelli, I don't know if Garzelli is in front of Lance or behind Lance, but he has no teammates with him. This is a huge blow for this defending champion from way back in the year 2000, but he had already said this was his season goal, was to try and win the race overall this year.
At 35 years of age now, he was really hoping to take one of these first 2 mountaintop finishes, because the age factor will become much larger the deeper we go into this race. So he wanted to do it while he was still fresh, and it's not going to be his day-to-day.
Now look at this, Cunego getting dropped, and right by him was Bradley Wiggins, and Wiggins really the strongest guy yesterday for the Garmin team. And there's Leipheimer, and right next to him is Arroyo, the Castapon. Well, and look at this.
That's Soler.
Oh, now we need to pay attention to this man. And there is also last year's Tour de France winner in black, Carlos Sastre, as he is there also. So the selection's starting to happen, the cream rising to the top.
Now, how ironic. So many years ago, Lance Armstrong's Tour de France teams, Discovery Channel, U.S. Postal before them, they would often use the similar tactic that Liquigas is today to put his rivals into difficulty, setting a blistering tempo up the toughest climbs to shed his main GC contenders. Today it's Liquigas doing that to Lance and turning the tables.
Nice shot of Levi there. He looks very comfortable. You can see how smooth he is on the bike. No grimacing, no moving the upper body, just ticking those pedals over. Looks very solid. Levi on a good ride here today.
5 kilometers now left to go, and the average gradient at a little more than 8% now.
This is an incredible turn on the front for Schmid, as this Polish rider, he has been on the front now for at least 5 kilometers. Basso on his wheel, and then behind him, Pelizzotti right back there, the killer DeLuca in the green, and then the pink jersey. Then it's followed up by Levi. But this is an incredible, incredible turn of tempo on the front for Schmid. And I don't know where he summons this strength. I mean, he is single-handedly whittling down the front group now. It looks like it's under 20 riders left.
Oh, and at the back, this is Cunego really suffering, it looks like. Oh, excuse me, that was Brusayan at the back with 103.
Well,
so Brusayan
still suffering, nonetheless.
Right, well, Cunego has been dropped as well.
Yeah, so these are both of their GC hopes, and they're both out the back door now. So for Lampre, the GC is over. They're going to have to go for stages at this point. And honestly, I believe that that's what Cunego should turn into as a stage hunter. He doesn't have it for these 3-week Grand Tours. He needs to just go for single days.
And this is how fractured things have become near the front of the race. Very single file through this area, just inside of the final 5 kilometers. And the pink jersey still up there, riding 5th wheel. Thomas Lövkvist just in front of him, the King of the Mountains leader, Danilo DeLuca. King of the Mountains points on the line here for this Cat 1 Alpe di Siusi. Also time bonuses for the first 3 across as well. Now Thomas Lövkvist just a 2-second lead in the general classification over Danilo DeLuca, who is riding right alongside at the moment. This Alpe di Siusi, our second Category 1 mountain climb of this year's Giro. Keep in mind, unlike the Tour de France, they don't have the hors de category classifications for their climbs here at the Giro. Category 1 is the highest rated climb. That beyond classification designation is reserved for just the Tour de France. They don't use it here at the Giro. So this is basically as tough as it gets.
Yeah, and I think this would probably get an hors category rating if it were in a different country. There's Lance back with his group. And that was not Simoni, was it? That was a different Di Giovanni rider. Yeah, a different one. So Lövkvist still here.
So
right
Schmid,
up at
it
the
looks
front.
like, is going to pull out now. So, boy, well
deserved.
What a time on the front. Sylvester Schmid, the 31-year-old now with his 5th professional team, Liquigas, done so much work for Basso. And now here is Ivan Basso at the front of the race. And he's got Danilo DeLuca right on his wheel. Basso, still a pretty big deficit in the GC, relatively speaking. He's right around a minute, as we saw. And there is Damiano Cunego, who, like Lance Armstrong, is suffering a bit outside of the confines of our leaders. He's 42 seconds back.
Yeah, his overall bid is over, as I wonder if he can possibly get this back. I really don't think he can, because he's going to lose more time in the time trials.
And you see that a moment ago, did you catch the flick of the arm by Basso?
Yeah.
He was hoping that DeLuca would come through and take a pull. As you look down, you see Dennis Menchoff in the orange, white, and blue a moment ago of Rabobank. Carlos Sastre was next to him in the black of the Cervelo test team colors, but going back to Basso for a moment, he wanted DeLuca to come through and take a pull, and DeLuca says, no way, I'm going to sit on your wheel.
Yeah, and it looks to me like they're trying to work their way back up to that lead group, and they need to do it quick, because with the Liquigas guys doing a big turn now, although also that's Simone trying to get his way back up there. So look at this, it's Basso isolated now. His teammate Pelizzotti couldn't even take a pull. He just faded out of that front group. It is still DeLuca on his wheel. Will it be DeLuca again?
And Lance 116 back. He said at the beginning of the day he wanted to stay within 2 minutes of the leaders. He's there right now. Will he stay there? Carlos Sastre leading this group that includes Dennis Menchoff, trying to get up to the leaders as we close in.
After performing almost 1,500 weight loss surgeries, I know the real secret to losing weight. In people who have had surgery, the upper part of your stomach is stretched out after a meal, and your brain says, stop, I'm full. Virtually every bariatric procedure uses this mechanism, but not everyone needs surgery. That's why I created Full Bar. By eating a safe, all-natural Full Bar and drinking a glass of water before the 2 largest meals of your day, the same principles go to work, but without the surgery. After a very small meal, the upper part of your stomach is stretched out and your brain says, stop, I'm full.
That's why in a recent study, 95% of the people who ate Full Bar lost weight. For added fullness, try Aquafull. Visit fullbar.com now. And call or visit us online to find out how to get your free month supply of all-natural Full Bar and free copy of Why Diets Don't Work.
My carbon foot
rotator cuff.
But when you call Amica, you won't have to worry about auto insurance.
I know I'm covered.
A friend told me about Amica years ago. Now I tell my friends.
Switch to Amica today. We take the time to explain your options and get you the right coverage.
I talked to a lot of insurance companies.
As soon as I called, I knew I had the right people.
And if you have an accident, you'll get the service you deserve.
Amica is always there for me. They pay the claim. No hassles, no worries.
Call Amica now and see why we've been ranked highest in customer satisfaction among national auto insurers for 9 straight years.
I got enough to worry about.
Too much sodium. Shin splints.
Dude, you don't have shin splints.
Oh, I have shin splints. Get out.
Call this number now for your free no-obligation quote. Amica. It's not just how you're covered, it's how you're treated.
Basso pacing a group at the front of the race. No doubt uninspired by the display on his left.
And look at this, Menchoff has made it up to him. Leipheimer sitting in 4th. The killer DeLuca still there. So Menchoff has made it back to the leaders as they're inside a 3K, and this little drop group here is seeing the 3K now.
Well, this is where things are really going to get good, because this is the steepest section of this 25-kilometer climb. It's getting up to a gradient of 11% on stage number 5. Lance Armstrong has dropped off the pace. He's well over a minute back of these men out front. Again, Ivan Basso in the green jersey leading this group that includes Danilo DeLuca in the darker green of the King of the Mountains jersey just behind him. Dennis Menchoff, who rode his first ever Giro d'Italia a year ago in the orange. Then Levi Leipheimer of Astana with his teammate Chris Horner. Horner's the one who has the jersey unzipped behind him. And then the pink jersey of our overall GC leader, Thomas Lövkvist, still has contact with the back of this group as well. And Carlos Sastre, the defending Tour de France champion, is near the back of this group as well.
So both Menchoff and Sastre made it back up, and this is the selection. It's the first time that we have finally seen Sastre and Menchoff showing anything. Granted, they're still following, but yesterday it didn't look like they had legs quite this good. Today's proving to be just a little bit different. Sastre definitely in trouble, and Lövkvist now starting to seesaw off the back.
Now Lövkvist is slowing down here, it looks like. Now riders looking over their shoulder, realizing the Maglia Rosa might be in trouble here.
Yeah, it looked to me like Basso stopped pulling, Lövkvist got back on, Nobody else wants to set the tempo. They're leaving it up to Basso. They say, you want it, you got to go for it. Horner having an incredible day. There's a great shot of him.
Well, if Lofquist is, in fact, in trouble here with just inside of 2K now left to go, DeLuca looking very good near the front. There is time bonus at the finish. DeLuca only 2 seconds back of Lofquist on GC coming into the day. Danilo DeLuca, the Italian, could be riding his way into the pink jersey.
The only way someone is going to wrestle the jersey away from DeLuca today, because Lofquist is not going to be able to outsprint him. Somebody is going to have to drop DeLuca by a big margin to surpass him. So this is really looking good for DeLuca right now to move into the pink jersey.
And Damiano Cunego, number 101, still having some trouble at the back. That's Chechu Vieira leading Lance Armstrong. But they're a few minutes back now. We'll get an exact check coming up here shortly. But at the head of the race with about 1.5 kilometers left to go, it's Basso right here with that familiar grimace. Danilo DeLuca right on his wheel. Lime green in front, the darker green behind. Sastre in black, he's the last man in that group. The pink jersey just ahead. And the guy who I think may be looking the most comfortable is Levi Leipheimer.
Leipheimer looks very, very good. And you know, it's kind of interesting to see everybody just saying, Basso, you're going to be you're going to have to make the tempo here. Really, DeLuca has a great sprint. He doesn't need to go to the front and try and drop anybody. He just wants to come to the line and try and out-kick him at the end and go for the time bonus. Cunego, look at Cunego. He's just absolutely dead out here as he's coming into the final kilometers.
How much time will Lance lose today? A group of 7 has made the ultimate selection here on the steepest part of what may be the most difficult climb so far in this year's Giro d'Italia. Ivan Basso now giving way a little bit to Danilo DeLuca, who's finally come forward, it looks like, as they come up towards that red kite that will indicate 1 kilometer left to go to the summit finish.
DeLuca looking very, very strong here today. And out of that group, he would have to be the strong favorite. And I also have to say, having 2 Astanas, very good for Levi and Horner as that Lance group back there. They continue to go back and show him, but DeLuca has gone to the front, setting a little bit of tempo.
So getting close to the final K of the day, Lance Armstrong just inside of 2 kilometers to the finish. Oh, you can lose so much time on such a steep slope like this, even with just 1 kilometer left to ride. And there's the red kite. 1,000 meters left to go. Danilo DeLuca in front. Denis Menchov in the orange there, looking very comfortable as well. The 31-year-old who was 3rd in the Tour de France last year, 5th in the Giro a year ago as well.
Look at this. Basso has gone to the front to push the tempo just a little bit more here in the final kilometer. Lofquist still in there. Now Basso maybe easing back a little bit. So this is where the cat and mouse begins. Basso has now started to drift back. It's DeLuca, Basso on the front. Levi looking over his shoulder. He's got Horner behind him. There's Menchov in the orange. Lofquist in the pink looking back. And the defending Tour de France champion, Sastre, on the back at 800 meters to go. Something's got to happen here. Something's got to give.
Now this is Horner at the front, the American Chris Horner for Astana. He's got DeLuca on his wheel, Basso 3rd wheel, Menchov 4th, and Leipheimer 5th right now.
And probably Levi saying in the radio, hey, you got DeLuca on your wheel. Do not pull him away from me at the end. And it looks like Michael Rogers for Columbia High Road making contact there as well.
Some guys getting back on here in the final 600 meters. Here's DeLuca getting out of the saddle now in that green jersey. He's got Leipheimer on his left, Menchov on his right. The pink jersey is there as well. If Lofquist gets the same time, he'll keep the jersey at the end of the day.
This is all going to come down to time bonuses for the jersey fight, and it looks like Sastre makes the first attack.
Carlos Sastre has gone. The defending Tour de France champion has opened it up. He's made the attack, but now here comes Menchov on his left in the orange, white, and blue. Denis Menchov. DeLuca, the only man who can try and go with him. Can DeLuca come around him? Can he replicate his feat from yesterday when he passed Soler in the final few meters? Can Menchov hold him off? The pink jersey is fading. Menchov trying to maintain this pace. DeLuca now looks like He's not going to be able to match the acceleration of Denis Menchov. Just about 50 meters left.
Incredible for Menchov. He rides DeLuca off his wheel.
DeLuca can't match him. Menchov looks over his shoulder, and the Russian rolls away to his first ever Giro stage win. And now the pink jersey has a gap before he crosses the line. And the two Astana riders come through, Leipheimer and Horner. There were some gaps there.
It looks like a couple of seconds of gaps between our winner and the pink jersey of the overall leader. So definitely a change of hands with the bonuses are in order.
And the clock ticking with the rest of the field now. Having to approach the finish, and the big question is, how much time will Lance lose? Look at this, though. Gilberto Simoni, the two-time Giro winner, dropping well over half a minute here, riding through his home region of Trentino today.
Soler leading him across, and Pelizzotti coming across with him as well. So not what any of those three riders were hoping for today.
Well, now let's wait for Lance. Here's the key. He said if he could stay within 2 minutes of the leaders, he would be satisfied. 1 minute now has gone off the board. Damiano Cunego trying to limit his losses as well here. Waiting for him to finish.
And this is the first big test, so you can certainly tell by all the time gaps here, the carnage in the field, that this massive Alpe di Siusi has brought to these riders. And most of these leaders still with their lieutenants, as we see here with Lance and Chechu Rubiera on the front, just looking after him, bringing him to the finish line. The question is, will Lance be within that 2 minutes he was hoping to maintain today? And it looks like the American Teddy King on their Cervelo squad in his Grand Tour debut.
And now a minute 45 going by. Now still waiting for Lance to come through.
Not looking like he's going to be within that 2 minute magic number he was shooting for today at this point if he's not in sight.
What a ride by Menchov, though, today. Able to hold off DeLuca. Really showing his strength for the first time at this year's Giro. Denis Menchov, the 31-year-old two-time Vuelta winner. Now Lance Armstrong still with a large group of teammates around him. 300 meters left to go.
It's a long 300 meters as Armstrong not getting exactly the day he wants with that clock continuing to tick. But he's got to be very happy at both Leipheimer and Horner. Here's Cunego coming to the line. He must be just in front of Armstrong.
And Cunego coming up to the line now. And here comes Armstrong now, 150 meters away from the finish line. Well, he's not going to achieve his goal of finishing within 2 minutes of the leaders. Chechu leading the Astana boys through now. So Lance Armstrong basically going to wind up, it looks like, 3 minutes back of our leaders, and Denis Menchov, who was the winner on stage number 5, our second summit finish of this year's Giro. So Armstrong 3 minutes back, but it's the Russian Denis Menchov who wins his first ever stage at the Giro d'Italia here on stage number 5 on Alpe di Siusi here today.
Hi, I'm Jillian. Ever since losing 41 pounds on Nutrisystem, I'm back in the game. Look alive, Golic.
Hey, get back in the game. I'm Mike Golic, and I lost 51 pounds on Nutrisystem. If a big old defensive lineman like me can lose weight, so can you.
Get results with Nutrisystem for Men, the easy weight loss program that lets you eat great and lose weight.
Nutrisystem helped these guys get trim, healthy, and back in the game, and they look better than ever.
Hey, I lost 22 pounds.
Jim Stuckey, 60 pounds.
Call or go online now to get your first 4 weeks of awesome food. And through this special offer, you can get an extra 3 weeks of meals free.
No counting, no measuring, no weighing in. What guy has patience for that?
It's easy.
Nutrisystem Advanced, the all-new program that lets you eat carbs, is heart healthy, and even helps you fight hunger.
Big taste, bold flavors, hearty meals.
Pizza, pasta, burgers, hot roast. Real food for real guys.
Every perfectly portioned Nutrisystem meal is delivered right to your door, and your shipping is free.
Thanks to Nutrisystem for Men, these guys are definitely back in the game.
I have a new nickname, Skinny.
Hey, they call Marino skinny. This is skinny.
You want real results? Get Nutrisystem.
With Nutrisystem, you have the power to change everything. how people look at you, how you look at yourself.
About $12 a day gets you 4 full weeks of rib-sticking meals. Order our 4-week men's program now, and you can get an extra 21 breakfasts, lunches, snacks, dinners, and desserts. A full 3 weeks of food absolutely free.
Look alive, Marino.
Join my team and get back in the game.
Call now, 1-866-976-2009, and find out how you can get 3 weeks absolutely free.
You might think it's impossible to get credit to buy a car. Best time in years to buy a car. Credit is available for most buyers, so see your local dealer who knows the market and can help you with financing that meets your needs. Vehicle quality and fuel efficiency have never been better, so head on into your local dealer and drive away with a great deal. This is the best time in years to buy a car. A message from your Colorado Automobile Dealers Association. At this year's 9 Health Fair, over 85,000 people got to know their numbers and made their health priority number 1.
Hi, I'm Denver Mayor John Hickenlooper, and I just want to take a moment to say thanks. Thanks to all the volunteers who worked so hard to make the 9 Health Fair happen, and thanks to everyone who visited the health fair. Staying healthy, living the dream.
Quest Diagnostics, dedicated people improving the health of patients through unsurpassed diagnostic insights and innovation. A proud sponsor of 9 Health Fair from the very beginning.
And Lance Armstrong, after losing about 3 minutes here as he makes his way to his team bus. After a tough day in the saddle here for this man after several years out of it. But look, here's the replay. We've got Sastre on the front. Menchov jumping very early. DeLuca, who was rightfully on Sastre's wheel, trying to now switch over to Menchov. He just cannot match it. The Russian Menchov, unbelievable burst here at the end. And you can see the head dropping there of DeLuca as he cracks. He looks back over his shoulder at the pink jersey further back. There is no stopping Menchov today. What a phenomenal finish we've seen today and yesterday on these mountaintop finishes.
A demonstrative win for the 31-year-old Russian, Denis Menchov. And what does this now do to the GC and the marquee names? Well, Danilo DeLuca is our new rider in the pink jersey. Lobquist is now 5 seconds back. American Levi Leipheimer still about 43 seconds back, hovering where he was after yesterday's stage 4. Also, Ivan Basso, a little more than a minute back. Chris Horner has dropped some time as well. Lance Armstrong now 3.5 minutes off the pace. At the beginning of the day, he was about a half minute off the pace, now 3:30 back. And after the race, we talked with Lance Armstrong.
Well, definitely a little tired. It was a hard climb, and, you know, I knew that we would be behind, so we just had to ride our tempo and try to limit the losses. Maybe 2 minutes, but was closer to 3, but that's okay.
Ha detto che lui si sente ok anche se ci sono 2 minuti di ritardo. Ha detto che la salita è stata molto dura. Do you think in the next stage you will do something or not?
No, I think, like I said in the beginning, you know, the first half is not going to be my half. I mean, I have to ride into the race and still get my condition back after the accident, and I can't expect to be in the front.
Thank you very much, Lance. Ha detto dopo.
Now, interesting, Todd, saying that the first half is not his race. Do you think he can still come back with a 3:30 deficit now in the second half?
I don't think he can come back and win the overall, but I think he can be a major factor in the way this race plays out.
Now, Danilo DeLuca won yesterday's stage number 4, and now on stage number 5, he slips on the pink jersey. The 2007 Giro winner is our new leader after 5 stages of the centenary edition of the Giro d'Italia. Well, stage 6 tomorrow finishes in Austria. We hope you join us for that. In the meantime, for Todd Gogulski and all of us at Universal Sports, I'm Steve Schlanger. Danilo DeLuca, the new leader on GC. We'll see you tomorrow for stage 6 here on Universal Sports.